It's been a while since I've done a sci-fi timeline, so I figured we'd jump back into it this year with something big. We're going to go with the Starship Troopers series, which is kind of an interesting series. Bounces from live action to animated, straight to video, big budget theatrical release, and kind of goes all over the place. But does it make any sense? Well, would you like to know more? Well, that's good because I'm about to tell you more. We kick off the original Starship Troopers back in 1997, which puts us right in the action as humans are fighting an alien species called bugs, and we see our hero Johnny Rico seemingly getting killed. And then flash to 1 year earlier. It's clearly pretty far in the future, and we meet our heroes, Johnny, Detective Carey, Dr. Christmas Jones, and Dr. Hauser. Their teachers are Daryl Revick and, for some reason, Blanche Devereaux. Carl here apparently has psychic abilities, and even though they're in Buenos Aires, everyone is very white-looking and English-speaking, and sports are intergender. As they graduate, this band is singing a song about the end of the 23rd century, which is the only semblance of a date that we get, which is kind of confirmed in a DVD commentary track, so let's roll with that and let's go with 2299 for now. In this society, you have to join the military to be a citizen, so they join up, and their drill sergeant is a Kurgan. And Johnny Bartlett is on their team. Chev Chelios' girl makes a cameo, Johnny and Carmen break up, Hank shows up, and the bugs launch an asteroid at Earth. So we go to war. And, well, things don't go according to plan. Almost everyone dies but Johnny, Ace and Dizzy, and Rackzack is her leader, and we meet the tanker bug, and Johnny and Diz hook up. There's flying bugs, and pretty soon a whole armada of arachnids. And you know what? I think these bugs might be my most feared alien species. Like, if I had to pick going one-on-one with a xenomorph, and predator, and one of these guys, I'm pretty sure this would be my last pick. Rackzack gets killed because that's what Michael Ironside does. Dizzy goes out bloody, and a team makes a narrow escape. Billy Buddy's kind of, a Nazi now? We'll come back to that. As they head into the final battle, Carmen and her new fella Xander get stranded and meet a new bug, a brain bug that eats Xander's brains. Rico shows up at the last minute to save Carmen, and they capture the brain, and the fight goes on. Now, I could probably talk about another hour or so about the subtext and the satirical layers of this film, and how it's even more significant today than it was 20 years ago, and, oh my god, this was 20 years ago. I won't, though, because there's plenty of other sources out there for that stuff, but let me just say this. Try watching this film in the context that the humans are the bad guys. It took all the way to 2007 to make a sequel, and it went straight to video with Starship Troopers 2: Hero of the Federation. The opening crawl makes it seem like we're a short time later, and our small group of soldiers escape noticeably cheaper looking bugs and escape to a nearby outpost. They find a survivor who was apparently supposed to be Zim from the first movie, but Clancy Brown ended up not being available, but there was intended to be a link. They even say that the character is a big hero, which fits with the ending of the first one. Also, Rakier is played by Brenda Strong, who was in the first one but as a different character, although apparently deleted scenes tell us that they are sisters. The bugs aren't as intimidating here, as they seem to have a hard time being able to kill people behind things, and it seems like the humans have some improved defensive weaponry. Things get tense and people act suspiciously, and bad things seem to happen when people kiss, because there's a new type of bug inside of people that zombifies them. It escalates to pulling one out of a guy's head and attacking, and the whole thing pretty much takes place indoors, which is a hell of a lot cheaper to shoot, which is mainly because it was filmed for $7 million as opposed to the first one's $105 million. Pretty soon, they take over Rake, and that's all that's left are Dax and Sahara, but surprise, Rake's okay and paying tribute to Gremlins. and then saving everyone before killing herself, and there's some really unconvincing gunplay, and some full-blown arachnids finally show back up. Dax kills the infected general, and he stays behind to fight, getting a statue, and Sahara has her baby, and the war goes on. So with no date again in the movie, we have to use our guesstimate from the last one of $22.99. It's apparent some time has passed between this one and the last one because their defensive technology has improved, but not too far in the future because of Rake. If she is Deladiar's sister, we have to assume that they're twins, and since they look similar in age, it's not too far ahead. Let's just estimate about 5 years or so. We can place this one in 2304. 1 year later, Starship Troopers 3, a Marauder, was unleashed, and right away we learn of new bugs that are appearing. And this is now the second bug war. So apparently the first war ended, I guess, sometime after the second film, and a new war broke out. And there's an attempt here to bring back the satirical slant of the original. And look at that, Rico is back, and he's now a colonel, which he says took 8 years, so we're at least past that since the first one. T-Ball is his old girlfriend, and there's a marshal who's also a famous singer, and Luther West is here. There's a new big scorpion bug, and Johnny gets blamed for a big defeat, but he's saved, and we find out that the brain from the end of the first movie is still here, and it's bigger now. They introduce a new Q-bomb that can destroy a whole planet, and Rico gets sent to rescue Lola and the Marshal from a desert planet. While a coup goes on back at Earth, the bug effects are significantly worse, and there's, I guess, graboids here? Don't worry, I will do Tremors. I swear. Just waiting for the new movie. Rico's team undresses to suit up, and we see the brain bug again, and learn that being around it drives you a bit crazy. If you're a psychic, it can make your head explode. They kill it, but it was delivering messages to the bug god Behemquoitl, who's pretty massive and underground. It shows itself and is totally not Cthulhu, probably, and kills Inoki. Finally, Rico and his team show up in Marauder armor, which is pretty much what you've been waiting for since '97 if you're a fan of the original book. They wound the big guy, blast the bugs, rescue the girls, and then drop the Q-bomb on the brain's planet, killing it. So a couple of things here. First, it's hard to believe that this one only cost $2 million more than Part 2, since it seems like a much bigger movie, with more effects and locations. It makes me wonder if this crew was just really good at spending their budget, or if the second one was just really bad at it. Also, even though it's not stated in the movie, the promotional material and original website for this one say it takes place 11 years after the first, although it also says 11 into the second bug war, which would be probably much later than 11 years after the last one. The only in-movie evidence we have is Rico saying it took 8 years to become colonel, and there was a few ranks in between where he left off, so 11 years sounds fair, so we'll go with 2310 on this one. 4 years go by, and in 2012 things took an unusual turn with Starship Troopers Invasion, which was a fully animated CG movie. We meet a new group of Marines in enhanced armors fighting bugs who are on a space station, and animated Carl and Carmen in here, although new voice actors take over the role. Carl is even creepier now, and the station gets overrun, and how did this many bugs get onto an asteroid anyway? We meet a new crew, including a guy known as Hero, who has been arrested, and there's an unusual amount of shower scenes, especially ones that aren't capable of getting a person's hair wet. Johnny Rico shows up with an eye patch and scars, and he's a general now, which they talk about making him at the ending of the last one, so we're seemingly in continuity with that. And he mentions Zim, so I guess that he's still alive. The troopers board a ship with a dead crew and dead bugs. Carl is here, but he's crazy now, and the crew starts getting killed off. We learn about a queen bug that's controlling Carl, and she takes the infested ship towards Earth. They eventually crash there, and we meet a new bug, which is kind of like the big plasma bug in the first one, but smaller, and it's kind of like the scorpion one, but different. Rico and the Marauders go to save them, and things get crazy when Carl shows back up with a bunch of mind-controlled bugs. Rico saves Carl, and most of the crew dies until they plant bombs on the ship and escape, killing the Queen. But a post-credit scene shows us a bug on Earth. So things get kind of weird with this one because it seems like it's in continuity, although I guess you could say that it's ignoring parts 2 and 3, but it's more likely in canon. Apparently, the official blog of the film at one time stated that it took place 10 years after the first one, which would contradict the timeline, but actually corrected itself later and said that it took place 12 years after the original, which would place it 1 year after part 3. That pretty much makes sense if you assume that Johnny was made general and sustained his eye injury somewhere within that year, so we'll roll with that and say 2311. 5 more years passed, and in 2017 we saw another animated sequel in Starship Troopers, Traitor of Mars. Rico's back, and his voice sounds familiar as Casper Van Dien is back, although they still don't have his likeness. Johnny's still got the injuries, as we're in continuity with the last one, and he's been demoted back to Colonel and is sent to Mars with a group of lousy Marines, as well as Ratzaz from the last one. This newspaper's blurry, but I'm pretty sure that it says 2317, and it also mentions Inoke from the third film, so we know that these don't ignore that film. And then this news report says that it's the 20th anniversary of the Battle of Klandatu, which happened in the first film. That tells us that the first film is actually set in 2297, which would place the third one at 2308. Invasion at 2309, with the only unknown being part 2, but we'll roll with the 5-year thing and set it in 2302. Carmen and Carl are back, and Ratzaz is the first to go. After a skirmish, Johnny is left behind on Mars, and they mix in some live-action actors, which isn't off-putting at all. And Johnny has a fever dream of Dizzy, with Dina Meyer coming back on voice duty. She's just in his head though, but it seems to have the information that he needs on the mission, and it's Carl helping him out and pushing him along to stop a crazed Sky Marshal from blowing up Mars. He's reunited with his team and they shut down the bomb, gets fenced in by a massive bug invasion, but Carmen saves the day again. Carl becomes the new Sky Marshal, Rico is made general again, and for once, most of the crew survives. There's this report here that says that a meteor struck Mars on 2314, which an earlier report said happened 3 years ago, so 2317 is clearer now, and our timeline is pretty definite as the film ends. By the way, there's a lot of catchphrases in these series. Let's check them out.
Come on, you apes! You wanna live forever!
Come on, you apes! You wanna live forever?
Come on, you apes! You want to live forever?
Come on, you apes! You wanna live forever?
See you on the bounce, trooper.
See you on the bounce.
Yes, sir.
On the bounce, troopers!
And I say kill them all!
Get in there and kill them all!
Kill them all!
Tomorrow we kill them all again.
So there you have it. It's 5 films that actually have a fairly solid continuity. I'm not mad about these ones. These actually link up pretty well. The timeline makes a lot of sense. They try and keep it pretty vague. Thankfully, there was some like online blogs and things like that promoting the film that helped out along there. But the final film is the only one that straight up gave us an actual date. So thank you for that movie. Made my job a little bit easier. I liked all these. You know what? Second one is pretty bad, but I still enjoyed watching it. It wasn't like painful to watch. Compared to the other ones, it's kind of bad, but in terms of like a low budget monster movie, it's not terrible. I love the first one. You can watch the first one anytime. It's a fantastic movie. If you haven't seen the first Starship Troopers, I absolutely recommend it. It is a great action movie, just a popcorn, silly adventure movie. But if you want to get deeper into the subtext and think of it as a strong social satire and political satire, it works there as well, and it's fantastic. So check it out. Let me know what you thought of it, and let me know what you thought of this video down below, and do the whole like, subscribe, blah, 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 all that stuff that every single YouTuber tells you to do. You know to do it, so just do it. Check out these guys over here. They're my patrons. I want to thank them. They are all pretty awesome for helping support this channel. You can too by going to the link that's down below there and check it out, and maybe kick over some funds for the movie, for this channel, and we'll keep it going. And I'll see you in another couple weeks for another great video. Thanks, guys.